The Italian court has just revealed why they found the 22-year-old college student guilty of killing her roommate and sent her to prison for 26 years. Elizabeth Vargas has covered the case from the very beginning. You join us now with the latest. A lot of detail here.
A lot of detail, George. That's 3 months to the day after the lead judge read out the verdict in an Italian courtroom. Amanda Knox found out in 427 pages of written detail what went into 2 judges and 6 jurors' unanimous verdict.
Per quanto riguarda Amanda Knox,
the lead judge meticulously outlined the court's reasons for convicting Knox and her former boyfriend Raffaele Sollecito of the murder of Knox's roommate, Meredith Kercher. The judge said the jury believed Knox was part of a brutal sex game, but was not the mastermind of any plot against Kercher. That contradicts the prosecutor's theory that Knox took the lead in the killing out of anger at Kercher, and that she orchestrated it all with her boyfriend and another man, Rudy Gaudet, who was also convicted.
It's almost like they've rewritten the entire case and they've gone completely away from what the prosecution said was motive.
It's all unsupported ideas and it's full of inconsistencies, so that was really surprising.
Today's statement leaves unanswered the questions of why the 22-year-old college student and her new boyfriend would have linked up with Rudy Gaudet, a man they barely knew.
They just randomly met up and invited this guy home without giving any kind of indication as to why that would happen. I mean, it's ridiculous. Maybe the 400 pages was an attempt to, because there really isn't anything solid, just to fill it with fluff.
The judge wrote that the prosecution presented a, quote, comprehensive and coherent picture without gaps or inconsistencies. Knox's defense team insists there are huge inconsistencies, and they will be the foundation of an appeal.
The court unequivocally rejected the prosecution's ever-changing theories of the case by concluding there was no planning, by concluding this was not the result of any resentment. When all the facts come out, it'll become clear that this is an unjustifiable conviction.
Amanda! The lead prosecutor argued that although no forensic evidence was found linking Knox to the room where Kercher was killed, a tiny amount of Knox's DNA was found on a kitchen knife and in the bathroom the 2 women shared, and that was enough to convince the jury. They were not convinced by Knox's claim on the stand that rough treatment by police during an all-night interrogation led her to admit she might have been there the night of the murder. That statement was thrown out, but still influenced the jury's decision-making.
That's a huge thing that we can use in the appeal, the fact that they're using something that has already been ruled inadmissible.
In the end, the evidence and the seeming inconsistencies in Amanda and Raffaele's story seem to add up not to a premeditated act of murder, but to 2 young people caught up in what the Italian court called a crescendo of violence.
You take a good kid, a hardworking student, and try to then turn them around and turn into a murderer after, X number of weeks in Italy. It just doesn't happen.
Prosecutor Giuliano Menini told ABC News the ruling upheld the prosecution's case almost entirely and vindicated, he said, the work of the police in this case.
So the prosecutor is still confident, but now Amanda is free to file an appeal. When's that likely to happen?
That's going to happen probably within 45 days. They need to go through all this detail, but they should do that. The whole appeal process should take about another 9 months. It will happen in Perugia with a new set of judges and jurors, but no new evidence can be introduced in Italian appeals. So they will just look to see if an error was made in the last court trial.
So does she have a shot?
Obviously her parents think she does. The biggest opening here is that all along the lack of a coherent motive by the prosecution bothered a lot of people. They sort of made up a theory and went with it. They introduced no evidence to support it. The judges and jurors didn't buy it. They came up with their own theory and their own motive, their own theory being that Raffaele and Amanda happened to bump into Rudy Gaudet in the street. The 3 of them went home together, got high together, and then the 2 of them
all got out of control.
It all got out of control, but they didn't even know each other. Raffaele had never met Rudy Gaudet, Amanda only once briefly. So the family feels that is probably a fertile area for an appeal.
So how are Amanda and her family doing right now?
She's doing okay, her parents say, has good days and bad days. The family's struggling to figure out how they're going to be with her, as they have been continuously in Italy throughout this process. Kurt is out of work. Amanda's stepfather has taken a voluntary leave of absence so he can be in Italy to support her. But, they have nearly bankrupted themselves supporting their daughter in this case, and I'm not sure they know how they're going to continue.
Real question of how much longer they can go on. Elizabeth Vargas, thanks very much.